commissions work together on land use and zoning matters within the rural areas surrounding the city. This area is displayed on the screen. After information and testimony is presented on the agenda item, members will discuss the matter, and then each planning commission will vote independently to arrive at a decision. Any final action taken on a conditional use permit request will take effect 5 working days following this meeting unless a written appeal of tonight's decision is filed in the county planning office by Monday, October 3rd at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be deferred to the county commission and city council for their joint meeting on Tuesday, October 25th, 2016 at 5 o'clock p.m. When the joint agenda is completed, the planning commission will adjourn and the meeting will continue as the county planning commission considers items beyond the joint zoning jurisdiction. At this time, the planning commission will consider the consent agenda. The minutes of the August 22nd meeting are included on the consent agenda. Are there any objections from the planning commission members on any items listed on the consent agenda? Seeing none, next I'll read each item on the consent agenda. If any member of the audience objects to the item, please raise your hand and the item will be moved to the regular agenda to allow you to address the commissions later in the meeting. Okay, the consent agenda, the minutes of August 22nd is item number 1. Item number 2, conditional use permit 1661 to exceed 12,000 square feet of total accessory building, requesting 1,848 square feet. Petitioners Douglas Hoff at 2510 South River Bluff Road, approximately 1 mile east of Sioux Falls. Item number 3, conditional use permit number 1663 to exceed 1,200 square feet of building area, requesting 2,160 square feet. Anthony Counterman is a petitioner. Address is 2104 West 70th Street North, approximately a half a mile north of Sioux Falls. We have a concern that, okay, that'll be moved to the agenda, regular agenda then. Otherwise, items 1 and 2. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes item 1 and 2?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried on the county side.
On the city side, I need a motion for items 1 and 2.
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. Passes item 1 and 2 on consent, moving 3 to the regular.
Okay, do you have a motion to approve the regular agenda with item number 3?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On the county.
Motion on the city side.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay, item number 3, Kevin Hookman from county staff.
Yes. Kevin Hookman, County Planning Department. This item, as was read, is a request for to exceed 1,200 square feet, requesting 2,160 square feet of accessory building. The property is located on West 70th Street North and lies adjacent and north of the Interstate 90. The land to the north is still agricultural property, while there's a large subdivision of more than 4 lots that lies mainly to the east of the location. And that is why we're here, is required to have a conditional use permit for accessory building larger than 1,200 square feet for a subdivision. The petitioner is requesting 2,160 square feet. That is a 45 by 48-foot accessory building for personal storage and use. Let's go to the site plan. There is a proposed driveway extended to the south from the accessory building that's just south of the pool there. The surrounding residential properties include several large accessory buildings. These accessory buildings, it's kind of hard to see in this map in this scale, but the largest accessory building for residential use in the area is 1,590 square feet. It is the structure is indicated, let's see, in that, but the largest accessory building that was approved was in 2014. There's a conditional use permit that an accessory building was approved for 1,660 square feet. And if I can get my mouse here, that would be for this location right here, nearby. That was also a request for more than 1660, but that was what was approved. The building then was built at 1440. In addition to the residential buildings, there is a large agricultural accessory building right here, and you can see it's very dominant on the map there. That large agricultural accessory building is 4,704 square feet. It's located within 300 feet of the proposed property. Staff feels that it'd be a consistent approach to approve the structure for the size as approved in the most recent nearby conditional use permit, and this would limit the accessory building of 1,660 square feet. And as a conditional use permit, we are required to look at several criteria, and I will go through them now. The first criteria is the effect upon use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for uses already permitted upon property values in the immediate vicinity. And the proposed building will have little or no effect in the agricultural use nearby. The neighborhoods, neighboring properties will be able to clearly see this accessory building, especially the properties that are just to the northeast across from the railroad tracks. Will be able to see it from the backyard. Number two, the effect upon normal and orderly development and improvement in surrounding vacant properties for uses predominant in the area. There will be no commercial businesses allowed in this accessory building for future use. Nearly all the residential building eligibilities in the area have been developed, so any new residential growth will likely occur once the City of Sioux Falls annexes it. At that point, very large accessory buildings may be out of character in the city subdivision. Number three, the utilities, access road, drainage, or other necessary facilities are provided. The petitioner will have to receive all utilities for the building. He has gotten a copy of approval for Mapleton Township for the new driveway approach. Number four, that off-street parking and loading requirements are met. The proposed building will have no new parking will be needed because it'll be inside the building. No commercial or business parking will be allowed at any time. Number five, that measures are taken to control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, and lighting, including of lighted signs, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance. Again, there will be no businesses allowed at any time, and that lighting should be directed downward to prevent the light pollution off the site. There was concern raised about the height of the building, and the maximum height of a building in this zoning district is 35 feet. Number six, the health, safety, and general welfare of the public in the comprehensive plan. The accessory building, as staff recommends, should have little to no effect on health, safety, and general welfare, and as well as the comprehensive plan. Approving 1,660 square feet of accessory building will be consistent with past action and will have less impact on future development. Staff finds that the request for a larger building is reasonable and recommends approval with the following conditions. Number one, that the total accessory building square footage shall not exceed 1,660 square feet. Two, that the building permit be required prior to construction of the accessory building. Three, an inspection must be made of the proposed new accessory building to ensure that the total floor area of the building does not exceed 1,660 square feet. 4, only personal residential storage shall be allowed in the building, and no commercial uses or commercial storage will be allowed at any time. 5, all outdoor lighting shall be a full cutoff, fully shielded design to prevent spillage of light beyond the property boundaries. And number 6, that the Planning and Zoning Department reserves the right to enter and inspect the accessory building at any time after proper notice to the owner to ensure that the property is in full compliance with the conditional use permit conditions of approval and the Minnehaha County zoning ordinance. And I can just go through the pictures real fast. This would be the general location of the building just beyond between the road and the swimming pool in the background. This is looking to the west, and it'll be kind of down in the bottom of the hill there in the area. You'll see the railroad tracks in the backyard, or beyond the yard. This is looking, east. This is looking east on the property toward the railroad tracks down the road, and this is west. You can see that the interstate there takes up a lot of visual sight. That's the large agricultural accessory building that's right nearby the property. And then this is a large residential building that is across from the railroad tracks from the petitioner. And then this is just across and south, another large accessory building. So are there any questions?
Evan, I have one in your report. One of the pages says addendum to the conditional use permit application of Anthony Counterman, in which I believe he must have wrote this. I wish to construct a 45 by 48 storage building and shop. The building will be used to store construction material and equipment. The shop portion will be used to maintain my equipment. Therefore, it sounds like he's running a business out of this place. And has he applied for a large home occupation conditional use permit as well?
Well, you'll have to ask him what he intends on having the material and equipment there for, because I guess the portion that I noticed on it is that the building no public access to the building, nor will business be conducted there. So he is not allowed, even as a building, he's not allowed to have a contractor's lot, which would be seeming what you're implying with that. That there will be construction materials. So, no, a contractor's lot is not allowed.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for staff? Okay, Mr. Counterman, you can please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
How's it going? Basically, what I'm planning on doing is building a building.
Kevin, would you please state your name and address? We need to get that on the record.
Sorry. My name's Anthony Counterman. Address 2104 West 70th Street North. What my plans are is to build a 45 by 48 building in order for me to store my equipment, trailers, and extra tools that I may have inside of there so they can be locked down securely. I really don't see a problem with it. I'm not sure what exactly I need to approach on it.
Okay, my question was, like, say, in there you said it's building to store construction material and equipment. That sounds like you're running a business out of there.
No, my business is actually conducted out in the field where I deal with actual contractors, general contractors. I am a subcontractor. Basically, I got my trailer. It's a rarity you see it at the house. I plan on storing my camper in there, something to keep it out of the weather, to keep it taken care of. Broken tools. What I have for tools would be like your normal skill saws, jigsaws, nail guns. I don't have big equipment. I do siding and decks on homes. So it's not like I've got big equipment coming and going. I do not own any big equipment. What I have is trailers and your normal handheld tools.
Do you understand why the county wanted to limit to 1660?
Yeah.
And that's adequate?
The problem is I do have a big camper, and I really don't want it sitting out in the weather. I have two 16-foot trailers that I use for work that I would like to put away so it does not, make a mess out of the neighborhood, make the neighborhood look nice for it. So my thought is if I can store my equipment inside, the property that I'm in now was a mess before I got to it. I've cleaned it up, and I'm trying to keep it that way. I take pride in my property. So that's the reason I'm asking for a larger one, so I can put my camper inside so it's out of sight, and my trailers.
Any questions of the petitioners? from anyone?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. Okay, thank you.
Well, I guess I'm
Or-
still a little bit confused. Sometimes I'm pretty easily confused. But you're storing your business trailers
Yes.
in here. Okay. It doesn't allow for that stipulation number, no glasses tonight. 4 is only personal residential, not personal business. States that in here also.
Correct.
So are you comfortable with that stipulation?
How
'Cause
can,
it's your business, it's
Mhm.
your business tools are what you're storing in
Yep.
here. Your construction tools, business tools, however you wanna say it, but it is part of a business.
Yep.
That they're being stored here. Versus, I'm a electrician that works for somebody and I carry home my tool belt every night. You're storing trailers with tools and other construction equipment in them.
yes. Yep, it's a rarity my actual job trailer would be on the site. The only reason I ever bring my job trailer home is because I'm going from one job to the next that's crossing that path. Other words, it doesn't ever come home, but when it does, I would like it locked and secured.
Okay.
Any other questions of the petitioner? Seeing none, thank you. Unless we have anyone else in the audience care to address this item? Yeah, state your name and address, please.
David Shelton, 1601 South Hawthorne Avenue, Sioux Falls. I represent Mr. Roland Johnson, who owns the property around Mr. Counterman. Mr.
So he
Johnson's
surrounds the red part?
correct.
Okay.
Up to about 34 acres there. Mr. Johnson's in favor not only of the existing or the new proposed 1,600 square foot building, but allowing a building large enough so that any personal belongings can be put in it, rather than having it strewn all over the yard. The place was a mess. Mr. Johnson's a pride of ownership property owner, as I believe the rest of the neighbors are as well, and that I think the community would be best served if Mr. Counterman could actually have a building that would allow him to, compliant, but be able to store all of his equipment in there, so that's what we have to
Thank you. Any questions?
offer up.
Mr. Chairman, so the idea, though, of having a construction equipment and stuff parked there, that's okay?
Construction equipment.
Yeah, his construction business equipment being on that property,
What we've
that's
seen
okay.
there is are pickups and things like that. That's what we've seen. And so we believe that if there were adequate storage there, as Mr. Johnson has a tractor and a farm truck and things, rather than parking those outside of his building, 4,700 square feet, he parks them in and keeps the property neat. We like that consistency. I think it would enhance all of the property owners. So I'm not saying change the zoning or the use to commercial. I'm just saying that it would be nice to see things under roof. If Mr. Counterman can afford to do that, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, anyone else in the audience care to address this issue? One more person, please come forward and state your name and address.
I'm Roger Coima from 5905 Northwestern Avenue, and I was the last one to have a building put in a couple years ago. I just want to point out that there's a train track going through there, divides the Swanson addition from where he lives. So there's a definite dividing line there, so I don't think that big building's going to be a problem at all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else care to address this? One more person, come forward, state your name, please, and address.
Beast, I'm a neighbor out there, 6209 Northwestern Avenue. As was just stated, it's kind of hard to see on a map, the elevation and such, but yeah, that train track that runs through there almost seems like a clear dividing line, not to throw like a retail up there or anything, but where this building is going, as well, it's down in the trees. I don't know if you guys can see that in the pictures, but the trees that are there, the only ones that'll be cleared left now, there's just gonna be for the approach. But once that building's in there, you won't even hardly notice that building's tucked in there. As big as it is even, you won't even notice it. And I've known this guy before he moved here. As far as equipment at his house from a business, it's not there. All you'll see is the trailer every once in a while, and I can vouch for that. It's not gonna have stuff strewn all over, but if you guys would have seen the pictures of this residence before they moved in versus now, I think that would kind of give you an idea of why he wants to do this. He wants to keep everything buttoned up and really looking appropriate like the rest of the neighborhood.
All right, thank you. Anyone else care to address this item? Otherwise, we will close the floor. And for discussion or action?
Mr. Chairman, just a question for the staff. Would we need to change our conditions or anything in regard to
Just the square
the
footage.
proposed usage?
No, it's a requirement of the zoning ordinance, so it's in, any kind of business activity there is gonna be a violation of the zoning ordinance.
And storing your business stuff? I mean, I used to take my boots home from work.
Well, I think there's I think there's some latitude there for interpretation of really what's storing and, you know, if he brings it home for a weekend and then brings it home on a Friday and is back on a job site on Monday, you know, if that happens once every year or 6 months or something, I don't think that's really an issue there.
I guess my thoughts were, like I say, since it's in existing trees, you're better having campers and stuff inside than outside. And we certainly are not allowing any construction yard of any type. And that would be his, what's the original dimension was 41 by 48? What was it? Something by 48.
5 by 48.
45, which isn't, that's just a big three-car garage nowadays.
But you may recall, for some of you that maybe weren't here in 2014, when we dealt with the conditional use permit for Roger at this property, right here, there was a lot of discussion about the size. And that got appealed to the city, Joint City-County Commission, and there was several meetings on that because of the water off the roof and the neighbors were concerned and whatnot, but this is a prime candidate for, my neighbor got 2,200, now I want 24, and the next one's gonna want 26, and that's my only concern is
Sure.
where you're ever gonna stop once you start letting people get bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's called precedence. However, at that big building that got built, you can't even see it anymore.
No, you
Trees
can't,
and stuff.
and it's on 30-some acres, I
Yeah.
mean.
So staff, what is your wishes for the discussion, or do we have a motion?
So if we were to approve it, are we doing the 45 by 48?
That's the discussion right now.
Yeah.
Approval is recommended in
1660.
This is a tough one. I mean, just basically because you're setting a precedence of, you know, bigger buildings that can be built, but we've got 4 neighbors that really don't have a problem with it. You know, that's a tough one.
I kind of feel like that railroad is a kind of divide to as well.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the 45 by 48 building.
Is that, what size is that, 20?
The original size.
2160.
Okay.
That's second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
It is a bit edgy as far as at what point do you start mixing concrete there and driving out, or, you know, when do you just park your truck in your garage, so to speak? But
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. Call the question, I believe it's referred to as. All those in favor signify with the change to the original square footage of 45 by 48.
48, yeah.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Any more discussion on the city side?
No, I think that Mr. Counterman has demonstrated by his own testimony and the testimony of his neighbors that he has cleaned up this property, and he's showing good stewardship of the land. And this is a significant expense, capital expense, to build a building of that size in order to store his stuff so that it's not out in the exposed. So I would agree with the county's assessment.
The only, they've already passed and approved it, and it's item number, it's number 4 on there. It says only residential. So we basically are a joint commission, so we gotta go with the county. But I want everyone to be aware that it says only residential. You guys just approved that. Only residential.
Yeah, and should he get a complaint, he will have to apply, if his stuff's there all the time, he gets complaints, he has to come in and apply for a business.
And I don't have an
large
issue
home
with it saying
occupation.
commercial on there. I really don't. They can store his commercial stuff. I don't have that. I just wanted everyone to be aware that
Yes.
you guys, we just approved and it says residential only. Okay? On the cities, well, any other discussion on the city side?
Amend it to 45 by 48 storage. for
Second.
accessory building.
With the other 6 stipulations, changing stipulation number 1 to 2160.
Yep.
Got a motion?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor of item number 3, signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Same sign. Motion passes on the city side. Any new business?
We have no new business, that
Any
would,
old business?
old business, we shall adjourn on the
Need a motion for adjournment?
I just passed out to the South Dakota
Planners.
Association, so all the elected and appointed officials are invited to dinner on Wednesday evening.
Okay.
So your planning director.
All right, good. Okay, thank you. Let the city leave, and then we'll start our county
Motion to
meeting.
adjourn in a second.
Second.
No, we will basically follow